In the next 20 minutes, my hope is that I can lay a foundation that you can take back to your work, and you'll be able to begin the journey to become an AI hero. But in the next 20 minutes, I can't do that, I'm sorry. We will set the foundation, though. I'm going to start with our journey. Our journey started 2 years ago. We gathered our team together, and we watched a presentation given by Tariq King. Rise of the Machines, Can Artificial Intelligence Terminate Manual Testing? It was an interesting presentation because I had gathered my manual testing team together. And here we were learning about the end of our jobs. Okay, that's not what he really said. What he really said was a lot of really cool stuff about AI and how artificial intelligence is changing our world and a lot of the cool things that it can do. One of the things that he said was, the bots are here, and I have seen them. A little ominous. After this presentation on AI, we had a few thoughts. For example, what is the future of testing? Will AI take over our jobs? What are we going to do about it? And what can AI really do? After this presentation, I was concerned that maybe my team was going to give up testing. Maybe we were going to run and hide. Maybe we were all going to become developers or something. I don't know. But instead, what happened was my team became very excited. And they said, let's jump in. And we did exactly that. We jumped in way over our heads. We found a presentation on machine learning. This is the presentation. You can go look it up. It's a training on machine learning, essential training. It sounded very, beginner-ish. Should be able to do this, right? Essential training. And it was based on code. So we were actually going to write some code that was machine learning. This is a great idea. Here's some of the code for those of you that can read this code. That's great. In fact, the entire tutorial is only that many lines of code. There were a few problems, though. For example, every time we heard Python, we were thinking of a snake. Every time we heard pandas, we were thinking of a cute, cuddly bear. And of course, we thought that this was a matrix. Let's be honest, we were drowning. Maybe many of you have jumped in and tried to learn artificial intelligence or machine learning and found that you've been drowning a little bit as well. There's a part that you should know before you begin a tutorial, and those are the prerequisites. Sometimes we don't read the prerequisites, and in our case, we didn't read the prerequisites. For example, Python 3 essential training and pandas for data science would have been helpful before we got started. So here were some of our issues learning AI. For example, we didn't know how to code. We hadn't used Python. We didn't know the difference between AI, machine learning, and data science. Most of us, again, hadn't written any code, so we hadn't even done any automation, which I recommend as a precursor to doing artificial intelligence. And we didn't have any data that we knew about. Well, that was the end. Okay, that's clearly not the end of the story, but that's about how we felt at that time. But never give up. There's always hope. What should we do next? We needed a new plan. What we decided to do was to break AI into smaller chunks so that we could tackle one piece at a time. We decided to start with automation. Again, as testers, we felt that we could add value to our company if we could immediately start writing automation. Then the business would see, okay, at least you're adding some value to the company. Then we'd move on to data science. Then we'd move on to machine learning. And eventually, we would get to artificial intelligence. How did we do this? Here's how we learned automation. First, we decided to use Python. And I'm going to put in a plug for Python in just a minute, but we decided on Python. We also decided that we need to demo and demo and demo. What we found is if you give people an assignment, then they may or may not complete the assignment. But if they're required to come back and demo what they've done, they have a tendency to complete their assignment and come back and demo. We also needed to start simple. For those of you who have never tried automation, start simple. For those of you that have failed at automation, start simple. And then add more tests after you've started simple. I'm going to repeat that a few more times in another slide. A quick plug for Python. As you know, everything that you find on the internet is true. And these statistics were found on the internet, so they must be true. Actually, they just prove my point, so I'm using the statistics to help me. Python apparently is #1 for AI. 41.7% of developers use Python. I don't know that that's true, but it sounded good. And Python is beginner-friendly. At least that's what we've found. How do you learn Python? I'm going to show you a book in just a second, so read the book. And then, like I said, do some real-world projects, which we decided would be test automation. Demo to your team. Here's the book that we decided to use. It was recommended to us, so we decided, sure, we'll go ahead and use it. Besides, we're beginners, and it said beginning Python, and we wanted to be professionals, and it said professional on the book, so we figured let's go with both. The keys to success. I already said this, but I want to reiterate, start simple. I'm going to show you how simple in just a second. And then start even more simple than that. And then one of my colleagues actually said, no, seriously, go one step at a time. Our team had a tendency to plan on taking over the world with automation instead of just writing their first automated test. This is how simple you should start. This is a first test in Python, and then you can say, I did it. And you get really excited, and then you start adding more tests on top of that. All right? Now, what you really want to do is move on to more advanced learning. So we're going to skip over all the other learning that we did for automation and go straight to data science. There's a slide that's used a lot when giving AI and ML talks, and it's this slide. I really got annoyed by this slide until I realized I didn't understand it. So I'm sharing it with you so that you can see that there's a lot of overlap with AI and ML and data science and data analytics and lots of other fields that get grouped into this. Why is that important? Because if you're going to learn data science, I recommend a course called AI for Everyone, right? If you're going to learn data science, take the AI course. That doesn't make any sense, I know. But this AI for Everyone course is on Coursera. It's free, and it really is a great introduction into the world of AI, ML, and data science, and will help you understand the difference between them. There's also a book. I'll share more of that in just a second. There's a tutorial and a great website, pythonprogramming.net. And I recommend doing this linear algebra from Khan Academy. It's a great course that I haven't taken. But one of my colleagues took the course and said that it was really good, and linear algebra is used all the time. So I'd recommend taking that course. Here's the book. This is a fantastic book. I highly recommend, if you want to get into this, that you read this book. It really does take you from scratch. All right, you're going to write code yourself, and you're going to learn from Python to linear algebra to statistics and probability, data, linear regression, and you're going to actually work your way all the way up to your first neural network. And if you don't know what that is, that's great. He'll explain it to you, all right? And you'll be able to apply neural networks. Really important with data science is that you have data, but we are testers. We generate lots of data. We have test cases. We use Jira. We have, or whatever other ticket management system you use. We have code from Git. We have lots of data. How did we apply this at our company? I had a theory that we were running too many tests. Okay, as testers, that just shocked you, I know. But I believed that we were running way too many manual tests, and I believed that we could delete a whole bunch of our tests. How am I going to prove that? Well, what we're going to do is we're going to do some data analytics, and we're going to find out which test cases have never failed. If we can figure out which test cases have never failed, then maybe we could remove some of them. Would that work? I didn't know, but I really didn't want to run this many manual tests all the time, and so I decided to put it to the test. This is what our test case data looks like. You have lots of test case data as well. And in the end, this is the chart that we produced using data analytics, right? It's just creating a chart so that you can analyze the data. In this case, you can see a sliver up there of red. Those are the only tests that ever fail. Now, some of you are going to say, yeah, but we want tests to pass to show that the product works. I agree, you should. But do we need that many tests all the time passing? Or can we get rid of some of them so that we can move faster through our release cycle? We decided to remove some of those tests. But some other questions you might have are here. Like, what else could you do with this data? Take that question back to your own office. Are your bugs clustered around certain areas? What bugs never get fixed? And so on. The important thing is to share, demo, share, create charts, share with your company what you found. All right? Charts are just fun to share. People like charts, all the way up to your CEO. They enjoy charts. I don't know why, but they're great. We did share our chart, and we deleted 900 test cases immediately. Now, was that a good choice? Just a second. Quality didn't go down. How do we know that? We did more data analytics to find out that our quality didn't go down. If you want more information, come talk to me afterwards. All right, so that was data science for us. It was a good introduction to data science. Now we need to move on to machine learning. How are we going to learn machine learning? There's some great courses on machinelearningmastery.com. Again, start simple. He's got a lot of stuff on that website. Go with a simple tutorial. There's one that's like start with machine learning, okay? Do that one first. There's other tutorials as well, and then there's a great book. I'll share that in a second. And then there's this really good testing website, Test Automation U, where you can get a whole bunch of tutorials, and one of them is AI for element selection, and that's a great introduction to AI as well for testing. All right, this book, again, fantastic. Get the one with this cover. Don't get the older version. It may be hard to get your hands on it. It's in process of being shipped right now, so it's a brand new book. Highly recommend it. What can we do with machine learning for automation? Maybe you've done screenshot comparisons. Has anybody done a screenshot comparison before? Right? Well, a lot of the open source tools, they compare pixel by pixel, right? And so if even a pixel is off, that means that your test fails, which really just means more work for you. You run a whole bunch of tests, and now you have to go analyze those tests. Well, what we decided to do was using computer vision, you can do what's called, or we called it, a fuzzy screenshot comparison. It doesn't need to be a perfect screenshot comparison, pixel by pixel. Instead, what we could do is maybe get a 99%, maybe a 90% accurate screenshot comparison. Now, we did a lot of testing on this. This is actual code that was used. That is not all of the code. You can take a picture, but it's not going to help you because it's not all of the code. But what we did is we used this code to do a screenshot comparison. What was interesting here is we detected a bug using this computer vision. Go ahead and look at that, analyze that for a second, and see if you can figure out where the bug is. The left is correct, the right is not correct. Every other time we rendered this chart, there's an addition of about 18 pixels across the bottom of the chart, the entire bottom of the chart. We never detected that, but the AI was able to detect that, and we're able to ignore that now, right? That's the point of having the fuzzy comparisons. We can say, you know what, we don't care about that. Here's another example, but showing when the AI detects a bug, it can actually highlight where it determines there are differences between the two screenshots. This is much more helpful than the previous screenshot. So that's a way that you can apply machine learning, is doing computer vision and doing screenshot comparisons. And on to artificial intelligence. All right, how do we learn artificial intelligence? Again, Coursera is a great place to learn about artificial intelligence, specifically deep learning. There's a course there. There's also a really great tutorial called Twitter Sentiment Analysis, Learn Python for Data Science #2. I guess #2 is better than the first one. All right, how are we going to use AI with our testing? Now, you heard this morning that Tariq and his team have spent years, right, trying to develop some artificial intelligence to help with testing. There's other companies that are doing some amazing stuff with artificial intelligence. So we want to start small. We need to find something that we can do with artificial intelligence. What can we do with it? Well, there's a branch of artificial intelligence called natural language processing. And within that branch, you can do sentiment analysis. At a previous company, I had, there was a particular product that I felt was not very good. And I kept telling everybody, this product is not very good. We need to fix it. Well, I wasn't on that team. So when you tell another team they need to fix their product, they normally don't listen. But a job came open, and I decided to take that job so that I could be on the team and fix the problem. Well, how do I tell everybody that, hey, this product is really bad, right? It's probably not a good thing to do on your first day of the job to say, hey, your product's really bad, all right? A better idea is to go out and read all of the customer feedback and come back and say, this is what our customers are saying about this. Now, this is what I did. I actually went out and I got all of the feedback, and I read through all of the feedback, and then I would mark it positive, negative, positive, negative. And when I was done, I totaled it up, and it was really negative, all right? My goal was over time to see that the feedback would become positive, all right? In just a few lines of code, this is all of the code, by the way. I think I even added comments just so it looked like I did more than I really did. In just that many lines of code, you can take your feedback, you can run sentiment analysis, and you can create a chart. And in this chart now, I can give the data back to my company and say, this is how we're trending. Now, this is an example. This is not what actually happened on the project, but you could quickly do this using Twitter feedback, or maybe you have a feedback system where you could gather that data and run it through. That has been our path to learning AI, but the question is, does that really make us AI heroes? What is a hero, really? But as testers, we don't get a lot of recognition for the work that we do. In our case, after we started down this path of learning AI and machine learning, the head of data science came to us and said, I heard you all are working on artificial intelligence for testing. What is it that you're doing? Now, I would suggest that when you have the head of data science at your company come to you as a tester, you've become a hero. Now, you may not have all the answers, but your team is being recognized for the great work that they're doing. Our mission, and we ask all of you to join us in this mission, is we believe the future of testing will include manual, automated, and AI-driven testing. In an effort to prepare our team not just to follow, but to lead the industry in this future, we're on a journey to learn Python, AI, and ML, and how it applies to testing. As you start this journey, it's going to be a challenging path. There will be bumps in the road. You're going to jump out of the airplane, and you're going to realize that you're falling really fast. You might splash into the water and start to drown. Pick yourself back up. This is a quote from The Martian. At some point, everything's going to go south on you. You're going to say, this is it. This is how I end. Now, you can either accept that, or you can get to work. You solve one problem, then you solve the next problem, and the next. If and only if you solve enough problems, you get to go home. Thank you.
Okay, that was very pro. 10 seconds before you had to finish. Now you have 5 minutes for the questions. Let's see them.
All right, apart from screenshot comparison, Where else can I use AI ML in my current test framework? Oh man, there's so many options to use AI and ML. Where do you want to use it? So here's what I would recommend. Before just jumping in and saying I want to use AI and ML, ask yourself, what problems do I have? All right? What are my bottlenecks? Where do I need to address concerns that my business has? Maybe it's an itch that I want to scratch, something I want to learn or solve. And then go out and learn the AI or ML that can solve that problem, if it can solve that problem. AI and ML may not be the answer to all problems, so I'm not avoiding the question. We can talk about a whole bunch of other examples. We're doing element detection, which uses AI and ML. You said screenshot comparison, so I mentioned the Twitter analysis or feedback analysis. Again, we can come up with a whole bunch of examples if you want to come talk to me afterwards. Was the only reason to remove passing test to save on execution time? Not just execution time. Yes, that was the main reason, because we pay another company to run all of our manual tests. So yesterday in a training, we were talking about adding value back to the business, right? And the business talks in revenue and money. And when we're paying another company to run our manual tests, if we can save time on that execution, we can also save money for our company. That's the value. But in addition, I found that the tests become outdated, and we don't even know what tests we have. You're probably in that situation if you have more than about 50 tests. Go ahead and break one test out of 1,000, and you probably don't care that one test broke. Break one out of 50, and you care a lot, because that one test means something, where one out of 1,000 may not. All right? And so in our case, what we were doing was, yes, saving on execution time, but tons of time was saved on maintenance of those tests. All right? I didn't have to go back and figure out, okay, which of these apply still to this product, which of them don't. And so it made all of that a lot easier. How to evaluate that the 1% tolerance on the visual compare is not the critical part of the image being ignored? Great question. So the first thing that we did is you saw the two screenshots, right? The one that is the original image, and then the other one was what the AI found as a difference. And we had to make sure that that 1% wasn't part of the difference that we cared about. All right? So for example, in our case, there are some logos that we put in those charts. And the logos we don't care about, because they change per test or per company that we're testing for. So if that was what was being detected, then we didn't care. In addition, again, we did some more analysis on this and found that it's only accurate most of the time, and that 1% gave us the variance that we needed to make sure it was accurate 100% of the time, either positive or negative on that. Out of curiosity, why was the graphing software adding 18 extra pixels every time you guys generated a new graph? Great question. I don't know the answer. We believe it's actually a bug in Chrome because it doesn't happen in Firefox. And so we're actually investigating that to determine if it's a Chrome bug or if it's something else in our own rendering engine. How long did it take? Okay, interesting question. So how long did it take to go from 0 to first successful AI test? It depends. So for my team, we have people who had never written any code, and then we had some new people join my team that were really good coders. I didn't know that they were really good coders, and we started talking about AI and ML, and they said, that's fantastic, let's do this. And those two people immediately built up our automation framework and then said, now what do we do? Let's do the AI. We really need screenshot comparison stuff. And I think it took them 1 month to go from no automation framework, built the automation framework, and had the screenshot comparison tool. They were really good coders. I have others that are still learning, and they're still working through the automation part of this path. One more? No? One more. Have you applied AI to select test cases from a big test base to make the test run more efficient? No, but I would love to do that. So if you have code that will do that for me, please let me know, and I'd love to use it and apply it at my work. But that's actually one of the next things that we want to do, so great idea.